There's a reason why sleep deprivation is considered a form of torture. What's sleep got to do with mental health and well-being? Just about everything. Learn more from a psychiatrist and sleep expert next on Speak Your Mind. Welcome to Speak Your Mind. I'm Dr. Carolyn Phelps, licensed psychologist with the Human Development Center. We human beings might not agree on much, but we all agree that we love a great night's sleep. We love it so much that we like to inform other people when we've had a great night's sleep. It's kind of like it's a badge of honor or something. Turns out there's a reason we love sleep so much. It's necessary to survival. Yes, just like food, water, and air, sleep is essential to both physical health and emotional well-being, which is why I've invited a sleep expert to join me tonight. This show has been a long time coming, and she's going to talk with us about some basic information about sleep and some tips about how to get a good night's sleep. Don't forget that you can be a part of tonight's conversation too by calling the numbers on your screen right now. Locally, dial 218-788-2844 or call toll-free at 1-877-307-8762. We'll be answering your questions throughout tonight's show. Joining me now is Dr. Kate Beresford, who works in the Department of Sleep Medicine at Essentia Health. She's board certified in both sleep medicine and psychiatry. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. And I just want to say that last night I got a marvelous night's sleep. So let's talk first about this whole notion. You know, I think I've known for a long time that sleep is important. I don't think I ever really kind of got it in my head that it's so important, that it's critical to survival. So what is sleep doing for us physically?
So that's a great question. We know that sleep is really important to our overall well-being, but we're still trying to fully answer that question. We think that just by looking at how much time we spend sleeping, a third of our life, it must be really important and vital to our health. Sleep researchers have been trying to answer that question. We look at humans, but we also look at other animals, and almost all animals sleep. Insects, birds, mammals. Yeah, right. And what we've found is that sleep isn't important just for one part of one biologic process. It's important for many. So we think some of the current theories are that it's really important for learning and memory. We need it to consolidate our memories, and especially when we're learning new things, it's important for us to get good sleep. It's really important for our immune function. So if we're not sleeping well, it's difficult for us to fight off infection. It's also, as we're going to talk about today, so important for our psychiatric and our mental health. And then another interesting thing we've found is that it's really important for clearance of toxins from the body. That's kind of a new area of research that is also shedding some light on why sleep is so important.
So I think what's so interesting about that, what you just said then, is that while we're asleep, our body is kind of pretty active then, doing something.
Yeah, it's not a passive process. Sleep is really active and there's a lot going on. Our sleep can help us grow, especially as in young children. I think this area of clearance of toxins is fascinating. They've recently looked at what happens with mice when they sleep, and it's almost like a faucet gets turned on. Their cerebral spinal fluid, the clear fluid in our brain, starts moving really rapidly, and we see that it's removing waste products. One of those products is beta amyloid. That's the protein that gets forms sticky plaques in Alzheimer's. So it's fascinating.
And so we can just begin to see where that research is going to go as we turn our attention then to, so what does this have, what did the mice sleeping have to do with the human sleeping, and that potentially gives us an avenue for more advanced research than with Alzheimer's disease as well, right?
Absolutely.
Of understanding Alzheimer's disease a little better. Now, one of the things that you said that I just want to go back to is because this is what students love to do, and college students in particular, and maybe med students also, the cram and stay up all night before to get in, you know, for the big exam. But what you said was that in sleep, it's not just maybe getting rid of the toxins, but it's also consolidating memory as well. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that's been really big for, really big in the field of sleep. When we learned that sleep deprivation, it makes us much harder to form memories, especially when we're working on a new task, to get a new neurologic pathway formed, we really need to sleep. We find that people perform better, their reaction times are better, their memory is better after a good night's sleep. When we compare like an 8-hour sleep period to a 4-hour sleep period, reaction time, memory is all so much better.
So sleep makes us smarter.
Exactly. Yep. And I think it's hard sometimes for maybe students, medical students too. We think, oh, well, I'll spend some more time studying, but really you'd be better off going to sleep, and you'd be better. You'd remember what you learned better.
So it's both that you would remember, and that we also believe that there is a consolidation of that memory, easier retrieval of the memory, and all of those processes are going to make it easier for you when it comes time to sit down and actually take the test.
Exactly. You'll have much better recall. You'll be able to, remember what you studied.
So let's talk a little bit about how much sleep do we human beings need? I know it's less than my cats, who I just feel like they must be the sleep experts of the animal kingdom. But how much sleep do human beings need?
So it's hard to answer that because there's a lot of individual variability. We know that sleep needs change a lot across the lifespan. So if you look at a newborn, they sleep more than 50% of a 24-hour period. And their sleep is really different. They're sleeping in chunks. They're getting lots and lots of REM sleep. And then as we age, we seem to need less sleep, and our sleep becomes more consolidated. An area that we do in sleep research, we have kind of given guidelines of, at this age, you might want to shoot for this amount of sleep. Again, you really want to look at your own needs to assess what you need individually. We see that teens need 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and that's a common population of patients that are people that aren't getting enough sleep.
And we suspect that because there's a whole big brain development thing going on for teenagers, where brain development kind of ramps up in those teen years. And I imagine that that is part of why we need some downtime, why teens need some more downtime.
Right. They need the deep stage 3 sleep, so growth hormone is released, and right, they're doing so much growing and learning that sleep is really crucial. And at that time too, teenagers, it's common that they start having a delayed sleep pattern, where their intrinsic patterns, they want to stay up later and sleep in later, and that often doesn't fit with school, sports, activity demands.
So what are the implications about that? Should schools be having a later start time and kind of going longer? If we were really going to capitalize on how the human body works, is that what we would do? Or do we say, no, we're going to mold the human being to this culture?
You know, I think you could argue it either way. I think it's really hard, though, we can work against it, but it's hard to work against those intrinsic sleep patterns and those circadian rhythms. So I think it would be nice if we could have later start times and match better with what most teenagers, their sleep-wake pattern.
And I think you just said something really important, which is we can vary it a little bit, but if the body really loves a certain thing, if you're not giving it that certain thing, you're going to be paying a price for that in some way.
Absolutely, yeah. And teenagers are a population that are really vulnerable to sleep deprivation in terms of safety while driving, as we talked about, learning and memory. So it's, yeah, you do pay a price for chronic sleep deprivation, absolutely.
Now, here's a question from a 57-year-old woman who says, I feel best if I sleep 8 hours or more, sometimes 10 hours. Is that too much sleep, and is too much sleep bad for me?
No, I think so. Looking at each individual, I think it's at that age, 8 to 9 hours is a recommended amount of sleep. So that's a really good amount. 10 hours isn't too much sleep. What you want to look at is you want to try different amounts of sleep. It's good to be consistent with your sleep, but you want to see what amount of sleep helps you to wake up feeling good, having good energy during the day, not needing to nap, not needing a lot of caffeine, being alert and sharp and feeling good. And if it's 8 hours or it's 10 hours, that's great.
So that's like get to know your own body.
Exactly.
Part of what you're saying is get to know your own body.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some basic sort of sleep hygiene, which is the Dr. Beresford's, top 10 list of sleep tips so that we can sleep well.
Yeah. So this is something I talk a lot about in clinic, and sometimes when we start talking about sleep hygiene, people say, "Oh yeah, I've heard that. I know these tips." But I tell people to really look at this. The sleep hygiene recommendations are backed by a lot of research. So there's a lot of reasons that these are recommendations. If you're not sleeping well, it's good to really take a look at this. So I think the first big sleep tip is to be consistent with your sleep. You want to schedule it. And you want to try to go to bed the same time every night and wake up around the same time every morning. And that's weekdays and weekends.
I know. So like you sleep experts want to tell us that we should not have two different sleep schedules, right? So I know I personally have my weekday, my workday sleep schedule, which is basically a schedule of sleep deprivation. And then I have my weekend where I think I can catch up, which is just basically bogus. I can tell you that right now. I'm not catching up. So you're saying I need to do something about that.
Right. Our bodies really crave, especially in terms of sleep, our bodies really crave consistency. Especially that consistent wake time is really what sets our circadian pattern. So if we sleep in a lot later on the weekends, we often find that Sunday night insomnia. It's hard to get back on track and go to bed when you want to, so you can wake up and start your weekday.
So that's not just maybe me stressing about Monday. That's also my body I've just gotten it used to something else again now. And my body's saying, well, I thought we were still on the weekend schedule, and now you want to turn us on some other schedule.
Right, yep. And it could be some of that anticipatory anxiety about what's coming ahead in terms of the work week, but definitely we get thrown off because, oh, I slept in 2 more hours and now I'm not ready to go to bed yet. So
okay, so sleep consistency, that's one tip for good
that's
sleep
one
hygiene.
tip. So during the day, it's important to be active. In the winter months it can be harder, but if you can get outside and get some sunlight, if you can try to avoid napping, and you can get some consistent exercise. So what they recommend is 20 to 30 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise. That can really help us fall asleep, and it actually can reduce your risk of things like sleep apnea. You do want to make sure that you exercise. You want to not exercise within a 3-hour window of when you want to go to bed, because that can be a little too stimulating. So that's another tip. Other things that we recommend are avoiding alcohol, limiting your caffeine, avoiding nicotine. Those all make it harder for us to go to sleep.
So let's go back to the caffeine, because a lot of us like our coffee. And those of us who are sleep deprived are really liking our coffee because we're drinking coffee to make up for the fact that we're sleep deprived. And what time would you suggest I stop drinking coffee?
My rule is noon.
Oh, you're the noon person.
I'm sorry.
I've known other noon people.
We're all a little different. So if you experiment with it and you find that I can have a cup of coffee at 2 and I'm okay, then I say go for it. But at noon is a good rule of thumb, especially if you're having any trouble with your sleep. And I was surprised to learn how long caffeine can stay in our system. So in some people it's up to 10 hours. Some of us metabolize caffeine more quickly, so you might be able to sneak it in a little later, but it's good to be cautious. And
is it the total amount of caffeine in the day that I need to watch out for, or, because I've heard this as a trick, that I could take my 2 cups, but I could take the second cup and do this sipping thing, you know, sort of from 11 till 3, and kind of be dosing myself in small little ways on that. So is it total amount of caffeine, or is it that, or do I need to stop at noon no matter what the total is?
It's probably both. Yeah, it's watching the total amount of caffeine that you're ingesting, but also making sure that you have an early enough cutoff so that it's out of your system and you've metabolized it by the time you want to go to sleep.
So as you can see, I'm trying to get I'm trying to work around this, but Dr. Beresford is holding the line with me. She's holding the line. No, Carolyn, noon means noon. So, and you know, you started by saying, oh, I talk about these tips in clinic all the time, and people dismiss me and say, I've heard about that, but really we should be listening because of all of this research.
Right.
And that's part of why we're talking about this tonight, is that we dismiss all of this good research. And so I brought the expert on to tell us why we shouldn't be doing that. So you said, so that was about caffeine, but you also mentioned alcohol, and there are a lot of people who like to unwind at the end of the day. And I'm not talking problem drinking necessarily. What's the scoop on the alcohol?
So alcohol, a lot of people think that, well, alcohol helps me sleep. And indeed it does typically help us fall asleep, but where we get into trouble is that it's not good quality sleep. So it might make you fall asleep more quickly, but then we see that as you metabolize it, as it gets out of our system, we actually have some withdrawal symptoms. And so the second half of our night of sleep is a lot worse. We're waking up a lot more, our heart is racing, depending of course on how much you take in. And then another thing that we see in the sleep world is that too much alcohol does increase our risk of sleep apnea. So alcohol can relax our airway too much, so that's another concern.
So there's the relaxing of the airway too much, but then also what you almost described, what sounded to me, but you correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost like a rebound effect where it relaxes you, but then you sort of get this kind of kick in, almost stimulant effect.
Right,
then.
Exactly. Yep. It depressed, and then as you're metabolizing it, you're having a more stimulant effect. Exactly.
And then you also said this also means nicotine, and I think people forget out there, a lot of people think like, well, smoking relaxes me, and they forget that nicotine is a stimulant, right?
Yes.
On the body.
Exactly, yeah, and we see that a lot, that one, we know it's good to stop smoking, but it definitely, if we can avoid smoking before bed, that can be helpful.
Talk about what you recommend with respect to screen time, because I know that's going to be another one of those tips.
Yes, this is huge, and I think I would probably say this is the hardest one for most people. You know, we are so exposed to screens in our life. So the sleep experts say to limit screen time for a 2-hour window before bed, which is, again, really hard for us to do. There's a few reasons for this. So one, the light that's emitted from screens, so laptops, tablets, smartphones, TVs, it's short wavelength. It's a blue light that gets emitted, and it really is potent at delaying our melatonin onset. So if that delays our melatonin, then we are going to have some more trouble sleeping and have a more delayed sleep pattern. So I tell people, get the electronics out of the bedroom. That's the best thing. But if you can't do that, at least make them as dim as possible. There's some new apps and new products coming out. You can actually wear glasses that block some of that blue light, or you can use an app on your smartphone that will block some of that blue light as well.
I like your idea of get rid of the electronics, that not like buy glasses so that you can do more of the wrong thing. That makes no sense to me. I like your suggestion. We're all too committed to, we're way too much in love with our electronics these days for many different reasons, but how it interferes with sleep. And I think that people don't see it as a light phenomenon. They see it maybe as I'm being my brain is kind of getting busy because of what I'm doing with the electronics. But you're saying that there's kind of there's this effect that you're not noticing that's nonetheless happening, that's important, and it doesn't matter if you're not reading an upsetting email, that you're still getting the blue light kind of, and that's what's interfering with the melatonin thing.
Right, and we are really sensitive to light exposure. So that's a big reason why people have sleep difficulty around electronics. The other piece of this is that getting into bed and being on your computer or being on your phone is not training your brain to go to bed when you get into bed. So that's what trouble a lot of people have. They get into bed and maybe watch TV or work on the electronics, but then the brain says, oh, bedtime is when I'm awake and working on things or watching something. So it's another issue with all of this, is that we're not associating bedtime with sleep. So that's another reason to get the electronics out of the bed.
Let's switch topics a little bit, and there's a ton of questions coming in here, and we'll get to some of them, maybe not all of them. And so what I might do is have Dr. Beresford answer them, and then we'll post them on a blog then, so if we don't get to all of them. But so how about when people are having, what is the difference between I'm having problems sleeping and I have a sleep disorder?
That's a great question, and that's tough to answer. I think you have to look again at the individual and see how the individual is doing with their sleep issues. So almost all of us, or I would say all of us, have had issues sleeping here or there. So it's really normal. We have a trigger. It could be an exciting event or some stressor, and then we have a night or two or a few nights of poor sleep. I think if we can recognize that and be relaxed with it and say, okay, that makes sense why I'm having some trouble sleeping. I'm going to look at my sleep hygiene, see what I'm doing, make sure I can try to get back on track and sleep a little bit better. A couple things that you can ask yourself if you are worried that maybe it's going from a sleep problem to a sleep disorder is you want to look at duration of symptoms and severity. So as if you go night after night and you're having trouble sleeping for weeks, then that's something that you definitely want to address and maybe seek some help for. Another thing is, how severe are your symptoms? And when I talk to people about that, you want to look at daytime symptoms and nighttime symptoms. So how are you feeling during the day? Do you feel really depressed? Are you having a hard time functioning? Are you really sleepy?
That's really, that is so interesting, because I think a lot of us think about just maybe what it's like to be up in the middle of the night, but not also the other part, which is what you mentioned, the daytime functioning part, which is, and what impact does this have?
Yep.
What impact does this have on you?
Exactly. I think so. To have a sleep disorder, you often have to have some form of daytime impairment. And one thing I just was going to mention too about the nighttime symptoms severity, I think that's important to talk about too, because maybe you have a little bit of a sleep issue, but you're not feeling too upset about it or too anxious. That's great, you're more relaxed. But as you start to feel frustrated, anxious about it, when you're starting to dread nighttime, and you're waking up for long periods of time and you're feeling really sad and lonely, that can be a really upsetting time for people, and people actually might start feeling like they want to harm themselves or suicidal. So definitely, if those feelings are coming into play, we want people to seek help.
We're getting short on running out of time here. What about over-the-counter medications in order to help people sleep? Good idea, bad idea?
Well, natural sleep is the best. So I would rather people work on sleep hygiene and behavioral things that we could do for sleep rather than over-the-counter medication or prescription medication. Certainly when I see people, they've often tried things like diphenhydramine, Benadryl, or melatonin. And here or there, that may be helpful, but we do have to be careful of drug interactions and possible side effects. So I would say be cautious with that. There is certainly risk with some of those over-the-counter medications.
And then if you were to say, like parting words for our viewing audience, what would you say is sort of the most important takeaway for them?
I would say don't underestimate the importance of sleep, that it's really as important as eating well, exercising, that sleep is really important, and don't shortchange your sleep. And if you have a sleep issue, have it addressed.
I think that's excellent. And so this is what I think that she's telling us, ladies and gentlemen. She's telling us, get real. And we need to stop ignoring all this research where we say, yeah, I've heard about that before, but I just kind of go on and act like I know better and then wonder why I don't feel as well. I think I am going to start taking Dr. Beresford's good words to heart. And you can join me in that. Thanks so much for joining the discussion this week. I am going to have her answer those questions that you were calling in. She's the expert. I'm not going to try doing that. Don't forget to visit us on the web at speakyourmindonline.org, where you can find a schedule of our topics and resource links. And join us next week when we'll have a conversation with Senator Al Franken. How about that, huh? And about his work, which has reduced barriers to care for those with mental illness. We have angels all over the place here. I'm Dr. Carolyn Phelps. Thanks for watching, and good night.